True success is not created in moments of excitement or emotional highs. It is formed quietly through daily discipline. Motivation is powerful, but it is unstable. It comes and goes depending on mood, comfort, praise, or fear. Discipline, on the other hand, does not depend on feelings. It functions whether the mind is inspired or tired, confident or doubtful. This is why discipline becomes the backbone of lasting achievement, while motivation remains only a temporary spark. Most people wait to feel ready before they act. They wait for energy, passion, or the right emotional state. Discipline reverses this order. It teaches action first, feelings later. When a person commits to showing up every day, regardless of inner resistance, the mind slowly adapts. What once felt difficult becomes normal. What once required effort becomes habit. Over time, these habits compound into strength, skill, and reliability. Daily discipline also removes decision fatigue. When actions are guided by routine rather than emotion, there is no daily debate about whether to work, train, study, or improve. The decision has already been made. This frees mental energy for focus and growth instead of internal conflict. In this way, discipline becomes a form of self-respect, keeping promises made to oneself even when no one else is watching. Emotions are natural, but they are poor leaders. Acting based on how one feels creates inconsistency. Some days feel powerful, others feel empty. If effort rises and falls with emotion, progress becomes unpredictable. Discipline stabilizes this chaos. It creates a steady rhythm that carries a person forward, even through boredom, frustration, or fear. This rhythm is what separates those who start from those who finish. Discipline also builds trust with oneself. Every time a person follows through on a difficult task despite discomfort, confidence grows. Not the loud confidence based on praise, but a quiet inner certainty. I can rely on myself. This trust is essential during moments of pressure, when emotions intensify and stakes rise. A disciplined individual does not panic in such moments because they have already proven, repeatedly, that they can act without emotional permission. Another hidden strength of discipline is that it reduces ego. Motivation often feeds the desire to feel good, to feel inspired, or to feel special. Discipline is humble. It accepts that progress is slow and often invisible. It accepts repetition. It accepts discomfort. This humility keeps a person grounded and focused on the process rather than the applause. Over time, this mindset produces mastery rather than mere performance. Daily discipline also teaches patience. Results rarely appear immediately, and emotional minds become frustrated when rewards are delayed. Discipline understands that growth follows its own timeline. Each small effort, though unimpressive on its own, contributes to something much larger. Like water shaping stone, consistency reshapes ability, character, and resilience. True success is not dramatic. It does not announce itself early. It grows quietly in early mornings, in tired evenings, in choices made when quitting would be easier. It grows in repetition, that looks ordinary from the outside, but is powerful on the inside. Those who rely on motivation often burn out or lose direction. Those who rely on discipline continue forward, step by step, regardless of weather or mood. In the end, discipline is freedom. It frees a person from emotional slavery, from excuses, and from waiting for the perfect moment. It creates a life where progress is inevitable because action is non-negotiable. This is why true success is built not on temporary motivation or emotion, but on the steady, disciplined commitment to do what must be done every day. Environment shapes destiny more powerfully than most people are willing to admit. While individuals like to believe that success or failure is purely a matter of personal will, the truth is that human behavior is deeply influenced by surroundings. The people we interact with, the values that are normalized around us, and the routines that structure our days silently guide our choices long before conscious effort steps in. Over time, these influences compound and steer life in a particular direction. Human beings naturally adapt to what feels normal. If discipline, respect, and growth are normal in one's environment, effort feels natural. If excuses, distraction, and comfort are normal, stagnation feels acceptable. This is why two people with equal potential can end up in completely different places. It is not always talent that separates them, but the standards they are surrounded by daily. The people closest to us play a decisive role. their attitudes toward work, struggle, and responsibility slowly become our own. When those around us complain about effort, mock ambition, or avoid accountability, these behaviors begin to feel justified. On the other hand, being surrounded by people who value consistency, humility, and self-control raises the internal bar. Even without direct instruction, behavior adjusts to meet the unspoken expectations of the group. Environment also shapes destiny through values. Values are not learned only through words, they are absorbed through observation. When honesty, discipline, and respect are practiced consistently in one's surroundings, they become internal standards. When shortcuts, ego, and immediate pleasure are rewarded, they quietly replace long-term thinking. Over time, these values dictate decisions in moments of pressure, when conscious thinking is limited and instinct takes over. Routines are another powerful environmental force. Daily habits create structure, and structure creates direction. A life built around purposeful routines naturally produces progress, even without dramatic effort. Conversely, a routine dominated by distraction, irregularity, and excess slowly erodes potential. What feels harmless in the moment becomes destructive over years. Destiny is rarely decided in one major event. It is shaped by repeated small patterns. The environment also determines how one responds to difficulty. In an environment that normalizes struggle as part of growth, challenges are faced with patience. In an environment that avoids discomfort, difficulty becomes a signal to quit. This difference in response accumulates over time and separates those who grow from those who remain stuck. Importantly, environment does not remove personal responsibility, it amplifies it. Becoming aware of environmental influence allows intentional choices. A person may not always control where they begin, but they can choose what they allow to influence them. This includes choosing mentors over flatterers, structure over chaos, and values over convenience. Success is often mistaken for a single moment of effort, but in reality, it is the outcome of years spent in the right environment. When surroundings support discipline, growth becomes sustainable. When surroundings reward comfort, progress becomes difficult. This is why changing environment, physical, social, and mental, is often the first step toward changing destiny. In the end, environment is the silent architect of life. It works slowly, quietly, and consistently. Those who ignore it struggle against invisible forces. Those who shape it deliberately create conditions where success becomes not a matter of chance, but an almost inevitable outcome. Humility is the foundation upon which all true mastery is built. Without it, growth becomes limited, distorted, or temporary. Ego convinces a person that they already know enough, that they are special, or that rules apply to others but not to them. Humility does the opposite. It opens the mind, softens resistance, and creates space for learning. The moment ego dominates, learning stops. The moment humility appears, growth begins. Ego seeks recognition, speed, and validation. It wants progress to be visible and praised. Humility accepts that real improvement is often slow, unseen, and uncomfortable. A humble learner understands that mastery is not about proving superiority, but about refining ability. This mindset allows mistakes to become teachers instead of threats. When ego is present, mistakes feel like attacks on identity. When humility is present, mistakes become information. Respect is a natural outcome of humility. Respect for teachers, for traditions, for methods that have been tested over time. A respectful learner does not rush to challenge the process before understanding it. They observe, listen, and practice. This does not mean blind obedience, but patient trust. Many methods that seem restrictive at first reveal their wisdom only after sustained effort. Ego rejects this patience, humility embraces it. Patience is essential because mastery unfolds in layers. Early progress is often visible, but deeper skill develops slowly. Without patience, frustration grows and commitment weakens. Humility allows a person to accept their current level without shame or pride. It acknowledges progress without exaggeration and recognizes limitations without self-judgment. This balanced awareness keeps learning stable and sustainable. Obedience to the process is often misunderstood as weakness, but in reality, it is discipline. Every craft, skill, or path of excellence has a structure designed to develop specific qualities in the right order. Skipping steps may create the illusion of advancement, but it weakens the foundation. Humility accepts structure. It understands that freedom comes after mastery, not before it. Those who lack humility often seek shortcuts. They compare themselves constantly, chase recognition, and become impatient with fundamentals. Over time, this leads to stagnation. Those who embrace humility return repeatedly to basics, refining what others ignore. This repetition builds depth rather than surface-level skill. Mastery is not about knowing many things, it is about knowing essential things deeply. Humility also protects against arrogance during success. As ability grows, so does the risk of ego returning in a stronger form. A humble mindset reminds a person that progress is never finished. There is always more to learn, more to refine, more to understand. This keeps growth alive even at high levels of achievement. True confidence is born from humility, not ego. Ego is loud and defensive because it is fragile. Humility is quiet and stable because it is grounded in effort and understanding. A humble individual does not need to announce their ability, their actions speak for them. They remain calm under pressure because they trust the process that built them. In the end, humility is not self-doubt, it is clarity. It allows a person to see themselves accurately, neither inflated nor diminished. This clarity is what enables real learning. When ego ends, resistance disappears. When resistance disappears, growth accelerates. Mastery then becomes not a destination, but a continuous journey guided by respect, patience, and unwavering commitment to the process. Purpose gives direction to effort in a way that pressure never can. Pressure is external. It comes from expectations, comparison, fear of judgment, or the need to prove something. Purpose is internal. It is rooted in meaning, values, and a clear understanding of why one chooses a certain path. When actions are guided by purpose, they remain steady even when circumstances become difficult. When actions are guided by pressure, they become unstable, reactive, and easily broken. Fear thrives where meaning is absent. When a person does not know why they are doing something, every obstacle feels threatening. Doubt grows quickly because there is no deeper reason to endure discomfort. Purpose changes this relationship with difficulty. When the reason is clear, hardship becomes acceptable. Pain becomes temporary, and effort becomes intentional rather than forced. Purpose does not remove struggle, but it removes confusion about whether the struggle is worth it. External pressure often demands quick results. It pushes individuals to chase approval rankings or visible success. This creates anxiety and rushed decisions. Purpose slows this down. It shifts focus from outcome to alignment. Instead of asking, "How do I look?" the question becomes, "Am I acting according to what matters?" This shift reduces fear because self-worth is no longer tied to external reactions. When pressure dominates, failure feels devastating. It threatens identity and reputation. When purpose dominates, failure becomes feedback. A person driven by meaning does not collapse under setbacks because their identity is not dependent on constant success. They see failure as part of the path, not a verdict on their value. This mindset builds resilience and emotional stability. Purpose also creates internal discipline. Pressure requires constant enforcement, reminders, deadlines, consequences. Purpose generates self-motivation. A person wakes up ready to act not because they are afraid of punishment, but because they believe in what they are building. This internal drive is more reliable than any external force. It continues even when no one is watching. Fear loses its grip when purpose is strong. Fear depends on uncertainty and attachment to outcomes. Purpose grounds a person in the present action rather than the future result. When focus shifts to doing the right work in the moment, fear of the future weakens. Attention moves from "what if I fail" to "what must I do now?" This practical clarity neutralizes anxiety. External pressure also encourages comparison. It pushes people to measure themselves against others, creating insecurity or arrogance. Purpose eliminates this need. Each individual's path becomes personal, guided by values rather than competition. Progress is measured by growth, not by position. This removes unnecessary mental weight and allows energy to be used productively. Purpose is especially powerful in moments of high stress. When expectations rise and stakes increase, pressure can overwhelm those without a clear internal anchor. Those guided by purpose remain calm because they know what they stand for. Their actions are consistent across circumstances. This consistency builds trust with others and with oneself. Ultimately, purpose transforms effort from burden into expression. Work becomes meaningful rather than draining. Sacrifice becomes choice rather than obligation. Pressure may still exist, but it no longer controls behavior. Purpose becomes the guiding force, steady and unshaken. When actions are driven by meaning, fear fades into the background. External pressure loses its power. What remains is clarity, resilience, and a quiet strength that continues forward, not because it must, but because it chooses to.